The body of 18-year-old black teen Nolan Xavier Wells has been found. His white friends who were with him on the trip have already hired lawyers. Wells vanished July 4 during a 4th of July boat outing to Horn Island, Mississippi, about 10 miles off the Gulf Coast. A park ranger found him in the water near the northwest end on July 6th. His phone was not with him. It was in his father's possession. The island has no cell coverage and is only accessible by private boat. Search teams, including the Cajun Navy, scoured land and sea since his disappearance. Authorities have not said how many people were on the boat or who made the missing person report. But online video suggests a possible altercation before the friends left Wells behind. One friend is the child of a judge, and all of them quickly retained lawyers. Wells was reportedly heading to meet a girl, but instead his friends took another boat and departed without him. Why did his phone return, but he did not? Why the immediate legal protection? The family and activists are furious, comparing this to other cases where black victims were dismissed as accidents. Officials are awaiting DNA confirmation, though the family says they have identified him. What do you think?
Wait a minute. Unless Nolan Wells can be in two places at the same time, this new information just don't make no sense, and it cracks this case wide open.
As reported in our previous video, 18-year-old Nolan Xavier Wells disappeared after traveling with a group of friends to Horn Island, Mississippi, during the 4th of July weekend. The people he traveled with eventually returned to the mainland, but Nolan did not return with them. His disappearance triggered a desperate search involving his family, law enforcement, the Coast Guard and members of the community. Nolan was later found on the island, leaving his parents heartbroken and demanding a clear explanation of what happened during his final hours.
Let me get this straight. Nolan's mother had to track down his phone in order to get it back. They had to beg and plead for Nolan's car keys. When they received the phone, they noticed messages were deleted, Snapchat videos were deleted, and then his body magically showed up a day after. The day after, his family went to that same location. And you want me to believe there was no foul play, especially when I'm seeing a pattern of evidence being tampered with.
In this video, we will show messages of Nolan's friend who claimed he left the island alive and went to a pool party with his friends, which was where he was. Letter from Nolan's friend's stepmother, video of a judge who does not support what the stepmom did, and other incriminating evidence. At first, the story appeared to be that Nolan had voluntarily remained on the island and planned to return later with another group. However, since our previous video, several new claims, statements, and alleged pieces of evidence have emerged. There is a video in which Nolan appears to be asking someone to return his phone. There are questions about who had possession of his phone and keys after he disappeared. There is a picture that shows Nolan in a pool with his friends the day after he died, and also statement from an eyewitness that broke everything open after. This made people believe that Nolan was killed at one of his friend's house and then dropped back on the island to cover up the murder.
Are you guys hearing these latest updates coming out about Nolan Wells? So allegedly Nolan did leave the island.
How true are these allegations? The families of some of Nolan's friends have strongly denied that their children had anything to do with his death. They say the internet is connecting unrelated events and accusing young people without knowing the full story. However, as more people speak publicly and different versions of the timeline begin to overlap, the case has only become more confusing.
Warren's stepmama broke the law when she put out her statement earlier this week.
Did Nolan truly remain on Horn Island, or did he return to the mainland with the others? Why was he reportedly asking someone for his phone? Who brought his phone and keys back without him? Why would Nolan's friend mom, who is a sitting judge, rush to talking about certain things online? The official investigation has not confirmed many of the claims now circulating online. The new information has caused many people to question whether the original version of events tells the complete story. What really happened during Nolan Wells's final hours? The video showing Nolan apparently asking another person for his phone. The full surrounding the recording have not been publicly established. For Nolan's family, the question is not simply why he did not return from Horn Island. They also want to understand why some of his personal belongings reportedly returned to the mainland without him. If Nolan planned to remain on the island and travel home with another group, why would he have been separated from his phone and keys? Who possessed those items, and when were they returned to his family? Those questions became even more significant as relatives of people connected to the trip began releasing public statements. Some families said their children were being unfairly blamed and harassed online. They insisted that the young people involved cared about Nolan and had cooperated with the authorities. Among the most widely discussed statements was one released by Judge Ashley Cole, the stepmother of Warren Hudson, one of the individuals connected to the boating trip. Ashley had deactivated her social media account as public attention surrounding the case intensified. That decision itself led to speculation, with some people questioning why she had suddenly disappeared from social media during such a sensitive investigation. Ashley later issued a detailed statement explaining why she removed her account and presenting her family's version of Nolan's final known movements. She began by expressing sympathy for Nolan's family and said her household was also grieving his death. She wrote, "Our family, along with the community, grieves the loss of Nolan Wells. Our thoughts and prayers are with Nolan's family. Our son, Warren, loved Nolan dearly. Unfortunately, I feel that it is appropriate to dispel some rumors with facts based upon the social media attention that is being diverted away from the Wells family and their loss." She continued, "Yes, I deactivated my Facebook. Given the very heightened emotional state of social media right now, my husband and I have 6 children and we covet their privacy. We do not believe it is appropriate for our minors' photographs to be circulated throughout the internet, presenting potential. My husband and I were not at Horn Island at any point on 4th of July, she wrote. She wrote, "No one in our family is trying in any way to impede with the investigation by law enforcement or to otherwise hamper the family and law enforcement's quest for answers." Warren was interviewed by the Jackson County Sheriff's Department and cooperated fully. He saw Nolan last at around 3 p.m. on July 4th. They left around 4:30 p.m. when the boat was taking on water and they had an issue with the bilge pump. Nolan made a decision to stay on the island and return inland later with another group of friends. "Yes, I am a judge. I also value transparency. I apologize if anyone was offended that I deleted my social media. There were no nefarious motivations in my deleting my social media. Social media has a lot of positives, but a whole lot of negatives. We live in a world of clickbaiting. Sad, but true." She concluded by expressing hope that her statement would redirect attention away from rumors involving her household and back toward Nolan's family and their grief.
Warren's stepmama broke the law when she put out her statement earlier this week. For those of you who've been following me all week, you remember this statement. If I'm not mistaken, I think it came out on a Tuesday. I didn't want to read
On a Tuesday? What's a Tuesday?
the whole thing. I'm not going to read the whole thing again because it's a lot of like pointing fingers and blaming and making excuses for deleting Instagram pages. Y'all can pause it and read it if you want. I highlighted some key events about her putting out an alibi for her son, Warren, and pointing the fingers at other people. And I also said that she is poisoning the potential jury pool.
The case became more complicated when a new allegation emerged involving a photograph that may show Nolan at a pool party after the time he was supposedly left on the island.
Wait a minute. Unless Nolan Wells can be in 2 places at the same time, this new information just don't make no sense and it cracks this case wide open. This is the place that Nolan Wells allegedly was unalived at, not the island. This is on land. I'm going to explain. Listen to this whole video because this new information gets crazy. Now, as we know, Nolan Wells missing after kicking it with his friends. Here are some of their names: Jax, Wyatt, Warren, Morgan. We're going to focus on Wyatt right now. Now, new witnesses are alleging that this is a pool party that was at Evan's house, one of his friends, Nolan's friends, after the 4th of July kick it when they were all on the island. And remember when all the guys were deleting their social media and scrubbing it or whatever? Guess where this picture comes from? Evan's Instagram page. This was posted after the island incident. And another thing that this confirms, if true, is remember that Nolan's dad said they searched the island and they didn't see anybody, and then a day or two later, a body came out of nowhere. And this person is also saying this is why. They jumped Nolan, allegedly, according to this person, they jumped Nolan at this party. Wyatt and Nolan have been getting into it the whole day. Allegedly, they were drinking and they were supposedly, the other guys were on some stuff and they hit Nolan with a pole or something and jumped and unalived him. So they saying after that, Nolan's body was stored in the boat, which is why, that would explain why they were cleaning the boat. An eyewitness saw them cleaning the boat at 3 a.m. in the morning at the judge's house, even though the boat owner lived somewhere else. And of course, that would also explain have been getting into it the whole day. Allegedly, they were drinking and they were supposedly, the other guys were on some stuff and they hit Nolan with a pole or something and jumped and unalived him. So they saying after that, Nolan's body was stored in the boat, which is why, that would explain why they were cleaning the boat. An eyewitness saw them cleaning the boat at 3 a.m. in the morning at the judge's house, even though the boat owner lived somewhere else. And of course, that would also explain why there was no body when the dad went, Nolan's dad. But then on that Monday, the body showed up days later, which could have been somebody dropping the body off and they were trying to make it look like something happened on the island to throw off what happened actually on land. And I don't like it. Allegedly, what if I told you?
Now, the only reason I'm posting this is because Ben Crump has now posted it. There is some speculation that Nolan Wells actually made it back to shore.
The claim is that the photograph was taken after the friends said Nolan had remained behind on Horn Island. That photograph has not been publicly authenticated by law enforcement. Another major point was the issue of some of the boys washing the boat after it got inland.
Okay, now this raises some alarms. I don't know if this is true, but I've just read that they saw these boys cleaning the boat at 3 a.m. in front of the judge's house. And from my knowledge, the judge's son was not the boat owner. So now why did you bring the boat to the judge's house and why are you cleaning it at 3 a.m. when y'all got back at 4? Now we have some questions. If this is true, now we need to start sounding the alarms. Because what's going on? And we've been new to cops not talking to him and all that. But the boat cleaning at 3 a.m. in front of the judge's house? Magnifying glass. Let's look into this.
This is just like hearsay that the boat was owned by this dude Wyatt. But when the boat got brought back, it was parked at Warren's house, which is his mom is the judge or whatever. And somebody said they drove by like later that night and like they were cleaning out the boat. Like it was like dark night, not like regular time when you would clean out a boat. It was like later at night. And then
the situation became even more serious when a young woman identified online as Alasia Spencer began speaking about Nolan's final hours.
Shit, and I've already been attacked because what are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about?
So Alexis, have you gone to the police department and shown them how they were 100% set up and we can just close the case right now?
Everybody that has there and has proof.
Yo, hold on. In high school.
Yes, he went to the high school.
The same school as...
It was Wyatt's boat and he went to Biloxi.
He went to a different high school.
Yes, he went to the high school that I went to.